The pharmaceutical company Pfizer is facing new lawsuits over its Depo-Provera birth control shot, and it's sparking massive outrage. People are pissed off. In this video, I'm going to break down what's being claimed in court, what the media is reporting, and why so many people are demanding accountability. First, let's get into the story that started this all.
Philip has been through 2 surgeries and months of radiation, all due to a tumor she now believes was caused by her birth control injections.
If I would have knew from the get-go, I would have never took that shot.
In 2018, doctors discovered a tumor called a meningioma pressing on Philip's brain.
This right here.
If you see any commercials about like medications and any new drugs or old ones, they always have like that long list of disclaimers. It may cause stroke, it may cause brain tumors, it may cause heart attack, all this stuff, and they say it's super fast. I mean, we're all aware. I'm sure they advertised this in their original thing, but nobody expected this to happen. Let's keep watching. This is crazy.
Emergency surgery left her without vision in her left eye. She even had to relearn how to walk.
It was a whole reframing of life. I lost my apartment. I had to move in with my mama.
Depo-Provera is a progestin shot injected every 3 months. 1 in 4 women in the United States use it, with black women taking the shot at nearly double the national rate. Philip took it for nearly 30 years.
The only time you stopped was when you had your 2 children.
Yes.
Multiple studies have found a potential link between Depo and meningioma, including one that found women who took the drug for more than a year had 5 times the risk of developing the tumor.
So overall, meningioma is not common. The likelihood of having a meningioma as a Depo user is incredibly low. It's just that it's incredibly low for people who don't use Depo.
Philip is now one of more than 1,000 women suing Pfizer, the maker of Depo-Provera, alleging the company chose to ignore relevant safety concerns and deliberately not study the long-term safety of Depo.
I mean, that's a strong allegation, too. I mean, when these companies make these drugs, they do have to go through some rigorous testing. But like they said, this lady took it for 30 years. It's kind of hard to do a long-term trial before releasing some new medication when we're talking about the effects happen 30 years later. But some people are saying it happens even sooner.
These women all have meningiomas. Many have surgery. Some have radiation. And they've all had their lives greatly impacted.
The European Union added a warning label for meningioma to the drug in 2024. Canada has listed it as an adverse reaction since 2006.
Wow.
No such warning exists in the United States. In a motion seeking dismissal of the case, Pfizer says it became aware of the risks of meningiomas in 2023 and made an application to the FDA to change the drug's warning label. The company says the FDA rejected their effort to warn patients.
I find it hard to believe, though, that Pfizer only found out about it like very recently when it just said like Europe and Canada and stuff were reporting on the bottle in their country that it can cause meningioma. That's kind of hard to believe. Next, what's really crazy is I've got a video where the attorney that's part of this class action lawsuit actually talks about it. So it's like insider information. It's going to be crazy. Stay tuned. Let's check it out.
So last week, my colleague Paul and I were in federal court in Florida. Basically the first major hearing in all of our cases against Pfizer, with the birth control Depo-Provera, and the roughly 10,000 women that have now come forward that took Depo-Provera and now have a brain tumor called a meningioma. I talked about it here before. The research on this has been piling up for a while now, and Pfizer was actually warning about the risks of meningiomas as far back as like 2015 in other countries, but then didn't do it here in the United States. I'm not going to get into the legal aspect.
And see, he just said since like 2015, that's what the attorney says. That's why I was like, it's kind of hard to believe that in 2023, they said in the U.S. that they have risk of meningioma. That part doesn't add up to me. Let's keep watching.
Although if you are a client out there, you can actually check your email from last week. There's an update on that. What I do want to talk about is something that I think might be even more important, and it also speaks to how valuable communication channels like this are. The 2 of us, Paul and I, from our respective firms, have one of the largest caseloads on this in the entire country, is because so many women don't even know that this is happening. Like last Tuesday is when it's really started to gain traction. It was on the nightly news. For the most part, this has been vastly underreported, which is wild because obviously you can't predict how things are going to go in courts, but at the same time, we all feel really optimistic, not just about the legal aspects, but perhaps more importantly, the public health ones. We heard from so many doctors and physicians and hospital administrators last week.
So the other thing is like, of course, this isn't like major news. There's so much other major news going on. It's like, it's hard to keep track. There's a major story breaking about something somewhere in the world every freaking hour. So unless this directly affects you, you probably didn't hear about it until just now because it's going viral. Let's keep watching.
This is the fact that so many more studies, both observational and epidemiological, coming out constantly showing the link between Depo-Provera and meningiomas. Doctors, neurosurgeons, OBGYNs, hospitals are all now recommending when a patient comes in with experiencing symptoms of a meningioma and they have a history of Depo-Provera use, get checked for one. Cleared.
So the other thing I'm wondering is, it said like 1 in 4 women in the U.S. use this Depo-Provera for their birth control. What I'm curious about is I know that they have this thing called a copper ring that they can put into your like cervix or something. Why don't people use that instead of a shot? I think, it's like, it is a kind of an invasive procedure, but I think you only need to do it like every few years, and it's not like a medication. It's like it's like literally like some kind of a copper shaped ring. It does do some kind of chemical action to, make you not get pregnant, but it seems a lot of a safer route. It's probably more expensive. Maybe that's why. But people might want to start considering using something like that instead of using these medications.
Do so for medical and insurance purposes is a huge hurdle that these cases have helped overcome. More studies means more awareness, means more testing, means better health outcomes for women. Clear, this should have never happened. But that said, we are very hopeful that the continued exposure of all of this will mean that more women get the care that they need. We're 100% sure that there will be many more women that come forward, both that get diagnosed down the road and also are diagnosed right now and maybe don't even know this is a thing. That's why cases will continue to rise, they'll continue to come forward, and that's why apps like this are so incredibly important. So thank you for trusting me, and thank you for giving me a platform to make this work possible.
100%. And that video, by the way, he posted it on October 6th, and it already has 315,000 likes, and it's got over 3 million views. Like, this is definitely big news. I want you to tell me something in the comments. Do you or anyone you know use Depo-Provera? And with this news now coming out, how worried are you about it? Regular people are definitely reporting on this too, and the effects of this. Let's check that out.
As Pfizer is fighting against liability in the Depo-Provera lawsuit, another study links Depo-Provera to brain tumors. So a study published September of 2025, so this month, this year, was published in JAMA Neurology, providing more evidence that Depo-Provera and brain tumors are connected. So the study found that women who used injectable birth controls with the main ingredient of Depo-Provera had a statistically significant increased relative risk of developing a meningioma diagnosis than women who took other forms of birth control or no birth control at all. In fact, women taking Depo-Provera were almost 2.5 times more likely to develop a type of brain tumor called an intracranial meningioma, which is the main injury in the Depo-Provera lawsuits. The study looked at data from more than 10 million women, and it's published at a time when Depo-Provera's manufacturer Pfizer is trying to sidestep liability by claiming the FDA would not let the company add the risk to the drug's warning label. This is a very common tactic used by drug companies in lawsuits like this. If you're interested in...
So, yeah, I mean, if you're using it, or you know someone that's using it, or you know someone that might want to use Depo-Provera, you may want to reconsider and look at other options. As far as how true all of this is, it sounds like it's pretty true. The allegations seem like they have evidence, and that should get you to tell people that you know or yourself to be like, all right, I'm not going to use this Depo-Provera. Wow. The pharmaceutical world is nuts.